Um, well, it's partly because I tend not to like pompous, self-righteous, self-loving, and generally useless organizations. Bada bing. But tell me how I really feel. I guess I'm part of my distaste for that kind of model of politics comes from my general dislike of special interest lobbying. Whenever anybody tells me that I'm an anti-Semite because I bash AIPAC, I must be hugely homophobic because I bash the Human Rights Campaign even more. I don't like these lobby groups. I think that they distort and warp the political process, and money is at their center. And whether they understand it or not, although AIPAC is really good at not loosening its standards of accountability and results, whereas HRC, I think, generally speaking, what happens is you can't get much done, and therefore you focus entirely on getting the money, and the process of getting the money becomes the reason you exist. And so for so long, key legislative priorities of the Human Rights Campaign have failed to be enacted. And those pro-gay initiatives that have been enacted have done so with the help of other organizations, such as the Service Members Legal Defense Network, which was crucial to Don't Ask, Don't Tell, or immigration equality, crucial to the HIV, lifting of the HIV ban, which are the two big things under Obama. But the actual anti-discrimination in employment, the ENDA legislation, has been sitting around now for 25 years as the first priority. And they still can't get it done. And yet it has over 80%, I think, public support. It's kind of lame. I prefer the gay rights movement to live where it breathes in its own communities, churches, synagogues, neighborhoods, communities, families, towns, than in Washington, where people can write checks and think that is a civil rights movement. I was once asked a long time ago to address the Human Rights Campaign annual dinner in Washington, I think 15 years ago. Haven't been invited back. And one of the things I do remember is that at one point I was staggered that there were signs outside the hall where all these people in black tie and big fancy ball gowns were gathering. No photographs permitted. This was 15 years ago, so things have changed, thank God. I was like, what does that mean? Does that mean these people are actually still closeted and think this is like what they should be doing to help gay rights? And I actually stood up and asked for a show of hands of people who were out of the closet to their friends and bosses and family and so on, and about a third put their hands up. I asked for a show of hands of those who weren't yet out of the closet, who were there but still felt unable to be out at work or in their families and so on. And to those people I said, well, why don't you just go home now and come back when you've done something for civil rights, when you've actually confronted an awkward situation with a relative, when you've actually told your boss that you're going to put your spouse's photograph on your desk, when you've actually risked something for what you say you support. Now, people in the civil rights movement of African Americans risked their deaths. And people who weren't even African American were killed because of what they believed. But here was the Human Rights Campaign telling people, essentially, that they don't have to risk even a promotion to advance gay civil rights. That's the delusion, that's the trap, that's what I dislike. I'm sure there are many people within HRC that do good work and mean very well. I just think that model is tired. And in my own experience with the marriage issue was for the majority of time we were fighting for marriage equality. HRC was an active opponent and then subsequently a cheerleader. But I can tell you this, HRC will one day take all the credit for all of it.